rich and untouched by war. This was Russia at the same time, victorious and utterly devastated. In 1946, former Vice President Henry Wallace revealed that he had warned President Roosevelt that the US military were planning what he called a preventative atomic strike against the Soviet Union. In 1949, a Russian bomb was exploded and arms technology soon dominated both American and Soviet economies. In America today, the military-industrial complex helps to keep alive some 22,000 major corporations. New weapons mean an endless cycle of competition and profit. In the Soviet Union, the military is the most modern and national and respected of all institutions, to which much of the nation's resources are mortgaged. In both countries, nuclear weapons like space technology are linked in the public mind with national prestige and progress.
Over here on the floor is a Poseidon missile. That one happens to come from the James Madison. And this one is going to be replaced by the new Trident that's just being built. They have a much longer range than the Poseidon over here. They will have a range of about 4,000 miles, I think. Now, if you will come over here, I will show you how we launched the men to the moon.
This process of conditioning us to accept nuclear weapons and a nuclear arms race really got underway with a lie called the missile gap. The missile gap dominated headlines in the late 50s and 60s, especially following the launch of the Russian Sputnik, the first satellite into space in October 1957. And hysteria swept over the three American services. Sputnik, they said, proved that the Russians were ahead in missile technology. But this was not true. Indeed, the very notion of a missile gap was ridiculous, as every American scientist working on missiles now concedes. Dr. Herbert York, one of the most distinguished and key figures in the early development of nuclear weapons, wrote this in his book Race to Oblivion. By 1955, the principal inter-service battle had become a power struggle over who would get the juiciest and sexiest roles and missions in long-range missiles. When Sputnik went up, each of the services hoped to take advantage of the public confusion and consternation over Sputnik.
Sputnik did not really represent a big technological lead on the part of the Soviets. The two programs at the fundamental level, that is the American missile program, missile and space program, the Soviet missile and space program, were rather evenly balanced. In fact, the American program was bigger and somewhat ahead in terms of technological base, but the Russians put up the first